We just wrapped up the second round of volleyball playoffs tonight, and the Jaguars won a thriller 5-set marathon against number 4 seeded Brandon-Evansville on the home court tonight in what I would say was a near packed house. The Jaguars struggled in the first set. We're down 4-0 right off the bat, but they regrouped and had 46% hitting in game 2 and won in 5 sets. And as I said on my blog, this is illustrative of how nothing is promised to you in the playoffs. And we came, and I know they know it, the team knows it, and the coaches know it. We came awful close to being a 1-1 playoff team tonight. So hats off to the Jaguars, though. You know, we can look at it many ways, but I choose to look at it from a very positive perspective that the Jaguars did what they had to pull out the win. I looked around at some other scores. I noticed that Bold, a top 10 team, went 5 sets in their second round match, playing a team called Cleveland. And as far as I know, Bold was far superior of a team, but again went 5 sets. So these things happen. So for the Jaguars to pull this out, we can be very proud of that. Today was quite a long day now. Started off with my trip to Grace Lutheran Church this morning for Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I've never done this. I've never done that. For many years they've been holding this, and mornings never work out for me as I'm getting my own kids ready for school, and it's just never worked out on a Friday morning. But today it finally did. I got in there, and there was a group of, I believe it was 13 kids today. And Travis Chesniak, who helps organize this, Travis commented that they've had is in the 20s for turnout, which they're very pleased about. And this is open to all kids, all BBE kids, any kid. You don't have to be an athlete. This is open to all kids to come at 7:30 a.m. on Fridays at Grace Lutheran Church on, of course, school weeks that we have classes on Fridays. And it was fun to see Doug Mose volunteering. And I am drawing a blank on the other gentleman that was helping volunteer, which is embarrassing. But I had a lot of chatter with Doug Mose afterwards. Doug, I was either a 66, let me see now. It was either a 66 or a 67. I think it was a class of 66 at Belgrade High School. Doug Mose was a quarterback on BBE's, on Belgrade Redmond's 8-0 football team in the fall of 1965. And Doug's first cousin, Greg Mose, was a tall, wide, and I believe it was 6'5". He was very tall, wide receiver for that team. Unfortunately, after that fall in December, Greg was killed in a car accident, and later, one of our recent Hall of Fame inductions, Greg was inducted posthumously to the B-B-E Hall of Fame, and I wrote a story about him. I think he was in the class of 2015, in our first group inducted for that. But going back to going on with my day today, the never really warmed up, and the winds blew, but the Jaguar football team held practice. They held practice outdoors, and start to get used to what's coming. And tomorrow they have the section semifinals in Belgrade with a 2 p.m. kickoff, as everybody knows by now. And then getting to tonight's volleyball match, we had a great crowd. We had a student section, kids dressed up in different costumes. Pep band was there. I was able to partake in playing with the pep band, which is always one of the highlights of anything. There's really very few things to me that beats playing in a pep band. I love it. I've always loved it. I loved it in high school, and I love it to this day. A few members will play tomorrow in the press box. They will play the national anthem before the kickoff tomorrow in Belgrade. So tonight's match was one to savor that win. Brandon-Evansville had 3 seniors. They were a very young team. They graduate their best hitter, their hitter who had most of their attacks and most of their kills. Great left side, outside hitter. I forget her name, but she was phenomenal and was just deadly on the left pin. And then their libero, very good libero that they graduate, but they bring back a lot of players for next year. And of course, so will the Jaguars. But we're not thinking all about next year. We're thinking about the game ahead of us, West Central area, the West Central area Knights. They are very, 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 very good. I've written about them a little bit on the blog. I'm going to get a little more scouting material on them. We have many days to prepare for them, but they have many days to prepare for us. So next Thursday night, we need a big crowd up at Fergus Falls Senior High School. It's basically in West Central. It is in West Central area's backyard. It's a short drive, depending on where you are in the West Central area district. It's more or less about a 20-minute to a half-hour drive to Fergus Falls High School. So you better believe WCA is going to have an overwhelming crowd. But I have faith in Jaguar country. We will also bring a big crowd. I wouldn't be surprised if we have just as many fans there as West Central area does. We play in the late match. The earlier match has, I don't know the second team, but Hillcrest Lutheran Academy will be in the North Finals with one other team. They play at 6 p.m. So that first match starts at 6, and our match follows. Probably will get started between 7:30 and 8, but it all depends on how that first match goes. I may get in a recording tomorrow night, but I don't know how many more recordings I have in our current recording studio, as winter is coming and I have to put our recording studio into storage for the winter. But let's come out and keep cheering for our Jaguars. Big crowd tomorrow in Belgrade. I've got faith in our team. It's going to be a tough game at Atwater Cosmos Grove City. No secrets between the two teams, which means it's gonna make for a great football game. High's going to be around 32, 33 degrees is what I heard. So we're going to get really bundled up. And by the way, I had to reuse an old uniform, I'll call it, with my Jaguar tie from last year. I'm not prepared for winter or winter sports or any of that. I thought we'd get another week of warmer weather. I've always worn shorts all the way through a section volleyball tournament. I've always been able to do that. But here I only got through one round. As we know, the weather turned last night, so I had to switch up my game uniform, you could say. And I had to borrow last year's Jaguar tie. I didn't want to do that. I want to get a new one. When I did get a new one, but it hasn't been through the hands of Jaguar Industries yet. And they will do that next week. So we will unveil Jaguar tie number 2 for the subsection championship next Thursday night as I move on with this new tradition for the second year. Now for the 2023-2024 school year. Good night, Jaguar Country. We'll see you at these playoff games.